girls, grab your beers.
Hey everybody, this is Charlie from Anthrax, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle.
This is Mark Metcalf, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle with Bailey on Domain Cleveland Radio.
You are listening to today's Boondoggle with Bailey on Domain Cleveland Radio. Yes, Kato Kalin listens to this all the time.
Welcome to today's Boondoggle. Now here's your host.
I am Monty Heath, so1 Heath, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle.
Hey, what's up? It's John from Skillet, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle on Domain Cleveland Radio.
Fasten your seatbelts.
Louder Than Life, September 21st through the 24th in Louisville with Foo Fighters, Green Day, Tool, Avenged Sevenfold, Godsmack, Limp Bizkit, Pantera, Queens of the Stone Age, Weezer, Megadeth, Turnstile, and many more. Get your passes on sale now at louderthanlifefestival.com.
What's going on, everybody? It's Bill Bailey with today's Boondoggle. And real quick housekeeping note, if you're watching us on YouTube or Rumble or BitChute or Odyssey, please hit that follow and subscribe button. And if you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple, Google, whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on, please hit that follow and subscribe button so we can continue to bring you conversations and information like the one that I'm about to bring you today. We're talking with Army veteran Joe Wesner of the organization Ultimate Veteran Adventures. How you doing, Joe?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So real quick background, I got to meet you this summer at the Inkcarceration Music Festival. You guys were hooked up with the Corey Taylor Foundation. Corey Taylor of Slipknot, which was really cool. I've been talking off and on with Mary to, help promote that organization as well. But, I go to a lot of those events and, I'm a big music guy. So it was cool to get to meet you and hear a little bit about your organization. And, but, to get the word out to more of our fellow veterans out there that watch my show and, just other people, I like to get a background really quick. So, do you remember as a kid? Do you remember originally what you wanted to be when you grew up?
Sorry, dogs are barking now. I always wanted to be in the military. Ever since I was little, I ran around playing Army. It was just my thing. It's something I always wanted to do. I finally did it when I was 21. So. Took me a little bit, but I did it.
And did you originally grow up in the Mansfield area?
No, I was in Pennsylvania, eastern Pennsylvania. And sorry, these dogs, my wife just came home, so now they're going nuts. So eastern Pennsylvania, and we moved out here to Mansfield, Ohio, probably about 4.5 years ago now. Almost 5 years.
All right, gotcha. And then, you said you pretty much always wanted to be in the military. When did you feel that calling to sign up?
So I went to college first, and I was playing football on a scholarship, and I broke my ankle playing basketball at the park in a pickup game, and I lost my scholarship. And just like that, I had to pay for college. I was like, I'm not paying for college. I'm just going to finally go and join the Army. It was May 31st of 2001. So there was nothing going on. I just figured, well, this is why not now? I'll join, they'll pay for me to finish school. And, I worked a little bit in between school and joining, and it wasn't for me. I was like, I don't like this. I want to go finally do something I always wanted to do. And I joined May 31st of 01.
Nice. Yeah. And then like obviously we know, a couple months later what happened to turn things around, but were you already like processed through boot camp and everything?
No, I was in basic when that happened. It was I was in basic training when 9/11 happened, and the drill sergeants came in with their TVs and they said, "Hey, watch this," and they turned on. We saw the second plane hit, and they're like, "Your training just got real." So just like that, it was done.
Wow. And then like during your time in, what were some of the like oddest things that you experienced, coming from, the college life, sports, and then, then you're in the military, and then what were some of the oddest things you experienced in that culture?
I mean, it was tough, I guess, in a way, just because I was the older one there. I was only 21, but I was older. I had the college experience. I had work experience. So I was with these 17, 18-year-olds that just living with their parents and this is the first time out of the house. And I mean, it wasn't hard by any means. It was just different, and just trying to get back into being around these young kids again. And I was 21, but still. Then I was always the older one everywhere I went in my units because, I joined late. So
yeah, and everybody buddied up to you so you could buy them beer, right?
Exactly.
And then during your time after going through training and everything, like without breaking OPSEC, where would you say some of like the worst places you served at?
I mean, I was in Iraq and Afghanistan, and I did one deployment to Kosovo as well. But probably Iraq. I mean, it was Iraq. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
It wasn't fun, but I mean, it was, but it wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, we had to go to a different place in our heads to kind of make it fun. I guess that's where we pick up some of our like dark humor, But,
exactly. Yeah.
But if not, then then you stay in the suck, and that doesn't help either. So,
yeah.
So one of the many amazing coping skills we pick up during our time in.
Exactly.
And then, like going through those deployments, was there any places that you got to serve that were one of your favorites?
I mean, I enjoyed Kosovo. We got to go to Greece and Bulgaria, so that was a good time. It wasn't tough by any means, but I did enjoy my Afghanistan deployment. Just it was different than what we had been in Iraq all the time, and I enjoyed Afghanistan for some reason. Yeah.
Yeah, you're one of the first I've heard that from. But
I mean, the unit probably made it better.
Yeah,
where
I guess
we
it
were,
depends
what we did.
who you're with,
Mm-hmm.
Always like,
Yeah.
I mean, I know like always my surroundings kind of help me out, and if not, I was always the one that was trying to like cheer everybody else up,
Right,
just
right,
to
exactly.
keep our heads, from going down that dark, hole of suck.
Yep.
And then, what would you say since transitioning out of the military? What's one of your biggest pet peeves today with the civilians since transitioning out of the military?
There's a lot. There's a lot. On time, being on time is a big one, and I don't know.
That's a fight I don't seem to be able to win with my daughters. I just can't get through to them.
No, I'm like, we need to go at this time. This is it. Let's go. Organization, that gets me. Like, this is common sense. I mean, a lot of common sense stuff that just people don't get. And discipline, obviously discipline's a big one that I struggle with other people not like do your thing and then don't worry about this and that. Yeah, I have a lot of things.
Gotcha. And what would you say is something that you will always carry with you, though, from your time of service?
The loyalty to my friends, my discipline personally. The things that I have as pet peeves are probably things that I still carry with me, and I always will.
Yeah. And what's one of the funniest stories you feel you can share from your time in service?
Oh man, I have no idea. Didn't even think of that. Boy, that might take me a while to come up with something like that.
Yeah, I try not go to all the dark stuff. I like to try and keep,
I mean, nothing. I don't know. Maybe
I know there's a lot of stuff guys are like, I don't want my family hearing this.
I mean, maybe the first time I made E5, we all went out.
The whole promotion process?
Well, no. Well, I guess you could say it would be the first time losing E5, second time getting it back. We went out drinking that night to celebrate, and we came in the gate, and there was probably 7 or 8 of us in the car, and the MPs at the gate, they're like, nope, you can't all come in through here. There's not enough seatbelts in the car. So I was like, I'm going to walk this. It's 4 or 5 miles. I'm like, I got this. So me and a couple other guys decided we're going to walk back. So we walked through the gate, and the next thing I remember is laying on the parade field, and our platoon sergeant was calling out cadence, and they were just doing PT around us. And I woke up and I looked at him, and my platoon sergeant was just standing there looking at me. He goes, "Don't worry, just go back to sleep. We got this." I'm like, oh man. So that was that.
Yeah, nice.
No longer an E5.
And then what would you say is one of your greatest hopes for the country that you've been willing to give your life for?
Oh man, that it gets back to the way it was. That we get back to where we were, 20 years ago when the war started, and seeing the country come together and support what we were doing. That I would love to see that again.
Yeah. September 12th, 2001.
Exactly.
It seemed like,
yep.
That was a flag everyone was flying that I could get behind,
Yep, absolutely.
Now every month it seems to change,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Whatever the flavor of the month is these days.
Yep.
And what do you feel we can do to break the stigma of mental health and PTSD?
Treat guys normally. Treat us normal. We're not all messed up. People say PTSD, you're going to be, he's going to kill himself. He's going to this, he's going to that. No, that doesn't mean that, just treat the guys normally and understand it, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, more talk about it instead of pouring like shame and guilt or tiptoeing around it.
Yep.
And then, there's plenty of guys out there that are struggling, but they struggle because they're, because of the shame and guilt, because they have nobody to come get it out and talk to, and we got to, not treat them like lepers.
Exactly.
Now, I wanted to talk about some of the, you sent me your write-up too, and I wanted to talk a little bit more, about your service before we get into, what you're doing today with Ultimate Veteran Adventures. But you had quite a list of injuries that you experienced before the, ankle thing that took away your scholarship, or after the ankle thing that took away your scholarship. You continued, luckily the military didn't take away your scholarship. They took care of you. But in service, you want to share a little bit about some of those injuries you've endured?
Yeah. So I mean, the last one that got me, I got hit with an RPG and blew up right in front of me, and I fractured my back in seven places. I had 5 ruptured discs. Both my shoulders completely, they went in and out of socket, tore everything around them. My right hip as well did the same thing. So I had everything rebuilt. Multiple back injections and trying to fuse it. And I won't let them fuse it right now. They wanted to do a rod. I won't let them do any of that. I know once they fuse it, that's it. I'm done.
Yeah,
So
I might be able to refer you to somebody when we get off this too.
Yeah, I'll take it. So yeah, I mean, got put back together, and for the most part, and I had no limbs lost. I'm good. But yeah, that was the last one. It got me, and was no longer able to fulfill my duties, and the Army said, "You're done."
So they medically retired you then?
Yeah, medically retired. I fought it for a while, tried to stay in, but they kept saying no. So then they said I could change my MOS, and I wasn't a desk guy, so I just finally gave in.
Gotcha. And then because of like a lot of what you experienced too, that I noticed you sent me some of the recognition and awards that you received during your service. You want to talk about some of those most notable ones?
Purple Heart, Bronze Star for Valor, Army Commendation for Valor. Got a few of those. So just doing my job, got recognized for it. It's I don't know. I mean, I don't really agree with the whole Army award system, but I can say at least I earned my Bronze Star because I got a V on mine, and that's going to ruffle some feathers, but I don't really care. So
yeah. And then you mentioned a little bit about with that the back was finally what like took you out, but like what was the diagnosis that the doctors had given you, but also like what's it been like working with the VA, and what have they done for you in regards to your injuries?
So in the beginning, I got it right away. I got my rating right away. Didn't have to fight for anything. They gave me what I earned. When I was in Pennsylvania, they were great. Anything I needed, right there. And then we moved out here, and unfortunately, it not been so good.
Yeah, what's the nearest VA that you are able to go to?
So there's the one here in Mansfield. So I go to that. It's like 5-10 minutes away from my house. But then for anything big, I have to go up to Cleveland. So
okay, Lewis Stokes.
Yeah. Or what's that other one?
Parma.
Parma. Yeah. Parma.
Yeah, I live right by the Parma one, and I prefer, when I have to go in there, but like anything big, like with the specialists and dental, I got to go downtown too, and
right,
try and avoid it when I can. I know, as we'll get into, I'm sure with your foundation, but I haven't always had the best success with my healing, within the system. It's like they spend all this money and stuff to send us off, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of the money spent to help us, kind of help put Humpty Dumpty back together again.
Exactly. Yeah.
After we fall off the wall, but so it's like I've had to like out of pocket do a lot of things, and I've been more into like holistic, natural ways than like you're saying, avoiding the rods. They wanted to cut into my neck. I haven't let them do that. I've got knee they wanted to work on, and I've just done things like, stretching and yoga and building the muscles up around it, and, all the stuff that, to try and, like center the mind and body.
Yep.
And you had mentioned that, one of the things that helped kind of save your life and turn your life around was hunting and fishing and stuff.
Yeah, the
so
outdoors.
we could see with the background, the outdoors. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you want to share more about, how that's helped you?
Yeah. So, I mean, I've always been an outdoorsman, always loved to hunt, fish, grew up in Pennsylvania. We hunted everything that was in season. We lived on a farm. So, we ate everything we had, what we grew, what we killed. Grew up fishing with my grandfather, going up to Canada. So it was always a big part of my life. And then after I got hurt, they said, with the injuries that I'd be lucky if I walked normally again and did normal stuff. So that was kind of a downer, I guess. I was like, well, how am I going to hunt? How am I going to do this? And so I used that as my motivation, used it as my therapy. The outdoors is some of the greatest therapy you can do, in my opinion.
I agree. Yeah.
And, a lot of people agree with it. And, I used it as my drive, as my motivation, and, it was my therapy.
Yeah. Like, I know, like when I, first came home, and it was right, my last deployment before I ended up retiring. I ended up getting sober, because that was something that I, else that I used to do to medicate myself back in the day to deal with things. And, got sober and saved after I came over my last deployment. I was ready to lose everything, my kids. And, me and their mom still ended up splitting up, but, today I have an amazing relationship with my daughters.
Good.
Thank God. But, once I took away that social lubricant, I didn't know how to handle life. I didn't know how to feel and be around others, especially, of non-veterans, and would isolate. I put on a ton of weight. The VA would just throw pills at me, which also blew me up and stuff too, made things worse. And it wasn't until I started looking into other ways of healing. And one of the first, the very first organization that helped me up here in Cleveland is this group called Wags for Warriors that connected me with a service dog. And, so that helped me start sleeping better and, getting out a little bit more. But then they referred me to this organization that I think might be similar to what you guys do. It's called Higher Ground, and it's up in Idaho.
Yeah.
And they flew me out and took me horseback riding up into the Sawtooth Mountains. We camped out and we're fly fishing for a week out there, and it was amazing. First I'm with other veterans, so it's like, the fart jokes and everything come back, and but just being out there in nature just was like, man, my energy and everything felt so much better, and that began getting me involved with other things that I started researching to kind of begin my healing. Part of my healing and my therapy is doing this podcast. It gets me outside myself, talking to other people, and
Sure.
and makes it's a muscle I needed to exercise and work. Before it was life of the party when I had some substance, but now
Right.
14 years sober, and I get to do things like this and then share a message for our brothers and sisters out there that are still struggling.
Sure.
But yeah, that organization was the beginning of just getting out, being active, getting out away from the noise, and out in God's creation, and since then I've been a part of some other organizations, and but let's talk about when Ultimate Veteran Adventures came together, and what you guys do.
Sure. So we started in 2016. It was an idea I had for a year or two. I always wanted to be involved. I did some events with different organizations like ours. Some phenomenal, some terrible. Um, and I was actually on a really bad one, and I was like, you know what, it's not good. Mentally, it's not good for the veterans that are there, what they were doing for us, and like, you know what, this is not a good thing. So right there, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna run with it. I want to start my own thing. I want to learn. I want to take from the good ones, all the good things that we've done, and that other good organizations have, and take all the good stuff, and then I want to learn from the bad ones, and what not to do.
Yeah.
And I just want to make my own. And a couple of us decided, let's just do this, and we filed for our paperwork, and there were some hiccups along the way. It wasn't the easiest thing, but you know, we were determined, and we did it. We officially became a 501c3 in 2017, and we've just been going from there. We take honorably discharged veterans, currently serving, Gold Star families, and first responders. We take them all over the country, hunting, fishing. We do whitewater rafting, knife forging classes, pen making classes. We actually make these pens right here.
Nice.
We do Ducks Unlimited banquets, Delta Waterfowl banquets, Whitetails Unlimited banquets. We get tables and we send the vets to the banquet. We do everything, as whatever we can do to get them out, and out of their own minds. We don't care if someone comes to us and say, hey, we send a family skiing, you know. If we can get something, we're going to try and send the vets out. Like I said, we've been going at it since 2016, and we've grown a lot since then. You know, we started out with just telling people about it, guys we served with, just calling them up and like, hey, we're going to fund this fishing trip or this hunting trip. You want to come along? And we paid for them to go, and paid out of pocket. And we started getting some sponsors and raising some money, and then we were able to pay for more. And then we're like, hey, listen, just go tell people that you served with that we didn't know. And now we're getting guys from all over the country applying for hunts and fishing trips. And, you know, I always ask him every trip, where'd you hear from us? He's like, well, so my buddy did this and told me about this, and his cousin, It's really cool to see the reach we've had in such a short time.
Yeah, in the veteran community especially, you know, it's like if somebody, like you were saying, you went on that one and you didn't have the best experience. So you took what you learned from that, and if you provide, you know, if you connect with the veterans, you know, on their level, and also like with a good experience, man, you know how we like to talk.
Yep.
You know, so
Yep.
it's like I've definitely, you know, I mean, that's why I'm still shouting out, you know, Higher Ground and Wags for Warriors, the ones that have helped me. One of the other ones that most recently helped me was We Defy Foundation, because they got me into jiu-jitsu and stuff, and something else to get me out of my head. You know, if I'm occupying my hands and, you know, my body, I don't stay stuck up here.
Right.
You know, I mean, I got to use my head during that thing, but I'm focusing on, like, you know, not getting choked out or tapped out and stuff like that.
Right.
You know, but you know, it's you know, it says a lot because of what our, you know, our brotherhood was like. No matter what branch we served in, you know, it's like veterans are always still helping other veterans, or helping the people to our right and to our left, even if we didn't serve with them, you know. But it's also like I said, it's kind of disheartening that there's not more we're getting from, you know, the powers that be that sent us off. You know,
Right.
that we had to come up and say, you know, screw you, we'll do it ourselves and take care of ourselves.
Sure.
But thankfully, something's happening that we can,
Right.
help each other out. So how can any veterans out there like apply? And you mentioned a little bit of how they qualify, but if they wanted to get on your list for one of the next events or whatever, where do you send them and how do they qualify?
So our Facebook page, Ultimate Veteran Adventures, everything we post everything on that page. We're on Instagram, UVA Foundation. We have a website. We're still trying to figure out how to post the trips to the website and make a calendar. I tried it. It didn't really work so well for me. I'm not the greatest tech guy. But we do everything on Facebook, and just follow our page there. We post all our trips, and basically we take all vets as long as you served honorably, unless there's an outfitter out there that says, hey, I only want Purple Heart, or I only want this or that. We do an all-female hunt. It's what the outfitter wants. If they're going to donate the trip, we have to go with that. But normally it's all veterans. We don't care where, when, what you did, as long as it was honorable. And whoever's running that trip will post their email on the event, and you have to send proof of honorable service. So send your DD-214, member 4, social blacked out, that shows honorable service, and send it to that email. And we do random drawings. So we randomly pick. We don't do first come first serve or anything like that. We give a deadline. This is when the deadline's over. At that deadline, we do a random draw, and we always do our best to get new vets out over returning vets. So we're trying not to get the same guys over and over and over and over. We'll have returning vets, but we're filling spots. And if we didn't have enough to put in, or we call you up, we have a list of guys that are on standby. Say, hey, we need to fill this trip. So, last year, and this is some of the numbers I'm very proud of. So what I will say, 100% of what we bring in goes right back out. We're not paid by no means. We're all volunteer, all medically retired that run the organization. And last year we took out 154 veterans and family members. We did 36 events across 11 states. We did it on a $15,000 budget. So we do a lot with a little. We're not good at fundraising, so we do what we can, and somehow it works.
Yeah, and then you probably get involved with some other organizations that are willing to donate too.
Yep.
And
we
work
team
together.
up with. Yeah, we do. We team up with different organizations. We're leaving next weekend. We're going up to Maine. We're sending 2 vets up to Maine for a bear hunt next weekend, and we're going to team up with another organization up there called House in the Woods, and we go up there. We send them up so we can do that fairly cheap on our end, just because we team up with them. So we do multiple organizations that we team up with, and we're all in it for the same reason. That's to help vets. So we're up for it.
And then how did you originally connect with the Corey Taylor Foundation?
I don't know. Mary, actually, she reached out to me, and I got this email from her, and there's no way this was real. I'm reading this email, I'm her Corey Taylor's manager for the nonprofit, and we want to work with you guys at Inc. I'm like, yeah, right. There's no way Corey Taylor from Slipknot wants to work with UVA. And I did some digging before I emailed her back and did some research, and I'm like, oh, it's for real. And so I emailed her back, and within an hour, she's like, want to do a Zoom call? I'm like, sure. Yeah, let's see what this is about. And we connected on Zoom and had an hour or so conversation, and it almost seemed too good to be true. but they're absolutely amazing. What they do is phenomenal. We were very fortunate to be selected and to be highlighted by them. Just crazy.
Yeah, she was amazing. I just met her for the first time, like you said, at Ink.
Mhm.
You know, I was there, doing media. I've been involved in local music in Cleveland for a number of years, and then established relationships with artists all across the country and stuff. But I'm a veteran, first and foremost, and as I was there, I went and I don't know if you connected with the Save 22 guys by chance.
Mm-hmm.
Their
We
tent
talked
was
to them a
around the
little bit.
corner. Yeah. I've had Albert on here and Johnny Moe, on here from that organization. And then, I saw the Taylor Foundation and I saw the pictures of veterans and I was like, I had no idea about it really. So I walked
Right.
over to the tent and met Mary and, she's amazing, positive energy, and had struck up a good conversation with her and then saw your guys' stuff in there and met you and, got your information so we could set this up. And, I mean, that's just what it's about, man, and it's like, I try and do this, like, I mostly talk with musicians, but I always, I try and be like every 5 episodes, talk to a veteran and get their story out there. And especially if they're involved with any kind of organization that can help raise awareness for other veterans. I know when I was deployed myself, it was that downtime that was always like kind of like the worst, we missing home, thinking about my kids and stuff like that. So I'd pop on headphones and it'd either be like music, to distract me, or like podcasts were just kind of like new back then. And I had some friends that did a podcast and, so I'd listen to them tell stories about things I was involved with them and stuff. So it felt like being back home. It took me away from, being there and kind of brought me home. And then that kind of motivated me to do this podcast now to, for our brothers and sisters that are deployed. I hope, it picks up with them and then they can hear about organizations like yours. So when they do come home, they know that there's help and there's, support out there for them. Me being up here in Cleveland, I ain't too far from you guys. Do you guys ever do like little local things too?
We do. We do a lot of fishing up on Lake Erie. We've got some duck hunts lined up for Lake Erie this year. That's about it for that area, duck hunting and fishing. I mean, I'm a charter captain. One of our other board members is also a charter captain up there. So we run a lot of fishing trips.
Well, I was in the Navy. I know how to tie lines. So, I can go out and help you guys out sometime.
There you go. Yeah. Please. We'd love to bring you out with us. You can see firsthand what we do.
Yeah. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then, I think we already kind of discussed, anybody that's new and wants to know more about the organization, just check you out on the Facebook page. And
Facebook.
On there.
We keep everything up to date on that. We do raffles. That's how we mainly raise our money. We're doing a Sika package right now. The clothes. Corey Taylor signed a guitar for us, and we're going to be raffling that off here probably soon. We're trying to raise pretty good money off of that. We're hoping. Follow our Facebook page. We post all our events, all our giveaways, raffles, everything we do is right there on that page.
Nice, man. Well, I'll definitely be keeping in touch with you, especially, whenever you're coming up to Lake Erie, you're trying to meet up with you guys or something.
Absolutely.
So, but then, before we get ready to wrap up, I want to ask you a couple of questions that I normally ask people I have on here. Being a music guy myself, who would you say your top 3 musical artists?
Oof. Honestly, I'm not a big music guy. I'm a country guy, so when I do listen to music,
Oh, I mean, they're musical artists. You can name them.
Right.
It's not.
I mean,
not just a metal show here.
right. I don't know. There's a bunch I like, but like recently, I guess I like Luke Combs. I don't know. I like Blake Shelton, Jason Aldean, those kind of guys.
Yeah. I had my daughters hooked up for Luke Bryan was supposed to play Put in Bay tonight. I got the tickets through VetTix, another amazing organization.
Oh, yes, yeah.
For us out there. And I guess it's canceled because of the weather we've been having.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff,
It was pretty nasty.
Yeah. So I guess they're expecting more bad weather tonight, so they canceled the event.
Huh.
But yeah. And then what class do you feel should be mandatory before graduating high school today?
Oof. There's a bunch. One specific course, is that what you want to ask?
Yeah.
Budgeting and resume writing.
Nice. Yeah. Finances is usually that, and the taxes is number one answer I get.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that ought to tell everybody out there something.
Right.
You know? And then who are 3 people who've inspired you and you can credit for making you the person you are today?
My grandfather, first and foremost. 3 people. Oh boy. I wish I could put my grandfather all 3 because he pretty much was it.
Nobody along your time of service or anything like that? Or?
I mean, there's been a few here and there. One of my drill sergeants was actually phenomenal, and I had 2 very good drill sergeants when I was in, and when I was going through basic, and they pretty much they made it to where this is what I want to do. And I knew even before I graduated basic training, I'm a career guy. I'm going to do this for the long run. There's been a few NCOs here and there that were phenomenal. Had a couple good officers, believe it or not. But yeah, I mean, nothing. I don't want to give names. But yeah, I would say them and my grandfather, number 1.
Gotcha. And then I like asking this question. It takes everybody back, but favorite toy as a child?
G.I. Joes, hands down.
Yeah, with the Kung Fu grip and everything?
Yep. Yep. Yep, I had every single one of them. Loved them.
And then any message you have for our brothers and sisters currently serving overseas?
That are over there now?
Yeah.
Keep your head up. It gets better. Reach out when you get home. Reach out while you're there if you need it. Yeah, just keep your head up. Focus on the mission. That's about it.
All right. Well, hey, man, Joe, I really appreciate, you taking the time today, us getting to make this happen, us connecting at Ink. I'll definitely be down that way for Ink next year. In fact, I've been meaning to take my girls through the prison when it's not so busy and stuff.
Yeah,
so if I'm in the area, I'll definitely hit you up. And then when you're coming up this way, man, hit me up as well.
Yeah, I definitely. I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, man. I'll keep in touch.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Take care.
You too.